Hey, healing family. Today we're going to talk about attachment style, hormones, and their role in the limbic system as far as chronic pain and chronic illness, and just understanding nervous system regulation according to our attachment styles. So, for those of you who are new, my name's Teresa. I'm a licensed mental health therapist and a yoga teacher, and I do videos on understanding nervous system regulation, the limbic system, and brain retraining. So today we're going to talk about attachment styles. These are patterns of behavior, thoughts, and emotions that develop during early childhood through interactions with our caregivers, and they have a profound impact throughout the rest of our lives on how we experience emotions, form relationships, and handle stress. These patterns of attachment, the most common ones we're going to talk about are secure, anxious preoccupied, dismissive avoidant, and fearful avoidant, not only shape emotional well-being, but also deeply influence physical health. There's emerging research showing that attachment styles are closely tied to functioning of our limbic system or nervous system, the emotional center of our brain, which regulates stress responses, pain perception, and even immune system function. We're also going to talk about hormones like oxytocin, cortisol, and vasopressin, which play critical roles in the relationships. Oxytocin is a bonding hormone or a love hormone, which supports trust and connection. Cortisol is a stress hormone and can lead to chronic health issues if it's dysregulated long term. And vasopressin, along with other neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, further contribute to emotional regulation, stress management, and how the body experiences pain and distress. When we have insecure attachment styles, we often see chronic stress, heightened pain sensitivity, systemic inflammation, and a greater likelihood of developing chronic conditions like autoimmune diseases, chronic pain, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue. And conversely, people with secure attachment, we often see emotional resilience, balanced hormone levels, and improved physical health outcomes. So today, we're going to do a deep dive to understanding how attachment styles and related hormones influence the brain, particularly our limbic system, and help to explain why some individuals are more prone to chronic pain or illness than others. We're also going to get some insight into how therapeutic interventions targeting attachment wounds and emotional regulation can promote healing for both the mind, body, and spirit. First thing we're going to talk about is the different attachment styles and just a general overview, and then we're going to do a deeper dive into each attachment style and how it factors into the limbic system and brain retraining. So again, attachment styles are going to be patterns of behavior and thinking and emotional response that develop in early childhood and then influence how we form relationships throughout our lives. They're rooted in interactions between a child and their primary caregivers, and we see a constant shuffling around of this throughout life as other relationships might then form or change our attachment style. So the first is secure attachment. The characteristics will be an individual who feels very comfortable with both intimacy and autonomy. They trust others, but they also have a positive view of themselves and a generally positive view of relationships. The brain chemistry of someone with secure attachment, they're going to have higher overall levels of oxytocin, which is like the bonding hormone, which promotes feelings of trust and safety in relationships. They tend to have adequate levels of serotonin for stable mood and emotional regulation, which supports secure attachments, and also balanced dopamine levels to facilitate reward and pleasure in social interactions and reinforcing positive relationships. For anxious, preoccupied attachment styles, we're going to see someone who craves closeness and intimacy, but is often worried about being abandoned or unloved. And they might feel overly dependent on others for validation, and they might really fear rejection or abandonment. With brain chemistry for anxious, preoccupied attachment styles, we're going to see higher levels of cortisol, which is the stress hormone, and this is indicating chronic stress and anxiety. They tend to have lower levels of serotonin, which contributes to unstable mood, anxiety, depression, and exacerbates fears of rejection and abandonment. And there may be an imbalance in oxytocin regulation, so it makes it harder to feel secure or loved in a relationship. With dismissive avoidant attachment, individuals are going to value independence and self-sufficiency, so they avoid close relationships. And they might have a positive self-view, but a negative view of others, so they want to distance themselves from others to avoid pain. Their brain chemistry is going to have lower levels of dopamine, which can reduce motivation to seek social interactions and intimacy. They might be thrill seekers trying to get that dopamine boost. And they might have lower baseline levels of cortisol to reflect a blunted stress response, contributing to more emotional, detached feelings, and reduced oxytocin levels to impair their ability to form close bonds and to trust. Then we have fearful, avoidant, or disorganized attachment. These individuals are going to experience a mix of both anxiety and avoidance in relationships. They desire closeness, but they're so afraid of getting hurt, so they have unpredictable and confusing behaviors. With their brain chemistry, they tend to have fluctuating cortisol levels, which indicates a dysregulated stress response, which often results from early trauma or inconsistent caregiving. A lot of times we think about they had their needs met inconsistently as children, so they expect that again as adults. Irregular oxytocin levels can hinder the ability to feel secure and trust others, which leads to ambivalence about relationships, and imbalances in serotonin leads to unstable mood, depression, and emotional dysregulation, which does not fare well in relationships. Looking ahead to neurobiological factors with attachment styles and how this relates to brain retraining and limbic retraining. The amygdala, which processes emotions and threat responses, tends to be more active in individuals with anxious or fearful avoidant attachment styles. And this heightened amygdala activity leads to increased anxiety and fear in relationships. The prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for decision-making and impulse control, might be less effective in managing emotional responses with insecurely attached people, and that leads to difficulty in regulating their emotions and behaviors, especially under stress. And the hippocampus, which is involved with memory formation, can be affected by chronic stress and high cortisol levels, which impacts how securely attached individuals process and recall relationship experiences. The ventral striatum, which is part of the brain's reward system, is also influenced by dopamine levels, and so insecure attachment styles might result from or even contribute to irregular dopamine signaling, which then affects motivation for reward from social interactions. So how do we view attachment style, and how does that factor in to these different understandings of the limbic system, brain retraining, how chronic illness and inflammation all join up together? So again, we'll go step by step. With secure attachment, we're going to see effective emotional regulation. We have more well-balanced neurotransmitter system, healthier levels of neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, so there's more stable mood, reward processing, and there's a reduced likelihood of chronic stress responses. Lower baseline cortisol levels and lower stress levels in securely attached individuals are going to give them a more resilient stress response system. So it reduces wear and tear on the body that chronic stress typically causes. They have less inflammation and a better immune response. And they have more resilience. People with secure attachment styles are more likely to engage in health-promoting behaviors. They seek out social support. They feel generally good about themselves. So it further buffers them against stress and supports recovery from illness. They have a robust parasympathetic nervous system. They're able to easily shift back and forth between when they get stressed, they can then downregulate after. So they have a better capability to feel relaxation and to heal. People with anxious, preoccupied attachment. There is a hyperactivation of the amygdala. The amygdala, which detects threat and processes emotions, is often hyperactive with anxiously attached individuals. And this persistent state of hypervigilance leads to chronic activation of the stress response. So that increases risk of conditions like fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, IBS, chronic pain. And they have elevated cortisol levels because when you have chronic anxiety, you get consistently high cortisol levels, which can damage tissues, affect your metabolic health, impair immune function, increase inflammation. And that can lead to chronic pain conditions, people with mystery headaches, belly aches, back pain, joint pain. A lot of this can come back to this anxious attachment style. And they're often suffering from emotional dysregulation. They may have heightened pain sensitivity due to emotional distress. The brain's pain matrix, including the insula and the anterior cingulate cortex, is much more active, so it amplifies their perception of pain. and can contribute to this endless cycle of anxiety and pain. With the dismissive avoidant attachment, we're going to see these individuals suppressing emotions. It leads to unprocessed stress accumulating in the body, and this suppression can result in tense muscles, gastrointestinal issues, and somatic issues like chronic pain. They also show a blunted stress response. They may have a blunted HPA axis response because they might have lower cortisol reactivity. This leads to an inadequate response to stress and prolonged exposure to an inflammatory process, which is implicating conditions like heart disease. And they tend to be isolated and lack social support. People with avoidant attachment often are socially isolated, and that also puts them at risk for other health issues because lack of social support exacerbates physical effects of stress, and they might have a harder time recovering from illness or dealing with stressors as they come up. We're going to move on to that fearful, avoidant, or disorganized attachment. This we're going to see fluctuating cortisol. They experience erratic levels of cortisol because they have an unstable stress response system. It was not developed properly in childhood because they had an unstable or unpredictable childhood. This dysregulation contributes to inflammation, autoimmune diseases, and other stress conditions. Similar with anxious attachment individuals, those with fearful avoidant attachment have an overactive amygdala. So they have heightened anxiety, increased pain sensitivity, and a greater risk of chronic pain syndromes. And fearful avoidant individuals might struggle with significant emotional and physical dysregulation. The erratic nature of their stress can often lead to conditions like migraines, mental health conditions, and other issues that feel uncontrollable by them. Let's look at this idea of general pathways that kind of connect attachment, limbic system, and chronic pain and illness. So first we look at chronic stress. Any of the insecure attachment styles lead to a hyperactive limbic system or stem from a hyperactive limbic system from childhood, and particularly the amygdala, which results in a constant state of high alert. This leads to a dysregulation of our hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, and it's crucial for managing stress. So chronic activation of the HPA axis leads to adrenal fatigue, reduced cortisol production, or processing impaired stress responses, and can make pain and autoimmune conditions worse. We also see immune dysfunction. So chronic stress is going to suppress the immune system, and it makes us more susceptible to infections, slows the healing process. And chronic inflammation, so neuroinflammation of the brain, contributing to neurodegenerative diseases, mental health issues, chronic pain and autoimmune conditions, and then systemic inflammation in the body, so chronic pain like arthritis, IBS, fibro. Also, pain perception is altered with insecure attachment styles. Because the limbic system's role in processing emotions and pain is related to chronic stress, we see something called central sensitization, where the chronic stress and chronic emotional dysregulation leads to a condition where the nervous system becomes hypersensitive to pain and stress stimuli. So what normally would feel like a level 5 for someone feels like a level 8 for someone with this sensation. And issues like somatization, which is when unprocessed emotional stress manifests as a physical symptom, but there's not a physical cause, it's an underlying emotional or nervous system cause. We also see how this factors in with healing and recovery. Obviously, if you're in a healthy, secure, attached relationship, you have more support if you're going on a healing journey and working on trying to have better health-related behaviors. So what does this mean for treatment? I wanted to talk a little bit about some therapies and ideas, and then we're going to get more into the brain retraining side. There are things that you really should find a licensed therapist to address, so you can seek out attachment-based therapy, emotional-focused therapy, cognitive behavior therapy, things where you're going to reframe negative thoughts, really dive deep into your patterns associated with your attachment style, narrative therapy, EMDR to go back and process painful or traumatic memories. There's also mind-body techniques, and again, whether you find a trained somatic therapist, a mind-body stress reduction therapist, or start working on some of those tools on your own, This is going to help us to regulate the limbic system and reduce the impact of the trauma from our attachment styles and what that has on us now. And as we go through, it's just important to remember a lot of our attachment styles are rooted in childhood, but once we become aware of the patterns of dysfunction in our lives, we have the power to control a lot of the outcomes and to change a lot of the outcomes. So something like the hormones and the neurotransmitters, oxytocin, that love hormone, we are able to release this or increase this level during bonding activities. So if we get involved in like group therapy, group yoga classes, we're, cuddling with a pet, we're able to produce more of this and to kind of offset if we have an imbalance of it already. Looking at different ways that oxytocin can help with pain and inflammation, it's important to recognize ways that we can work on changing the levels of these hormones ourselves. Vasopressin is something that I think not everyone is as familiar with as the common like dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin. And this is a hormone that plays a role in social behaviors, including both bonding and even aggression. And this influences our attachment styles. So the super high vasopressin levels are linked to more avoidant or anxious attachment styles. Elevated vasopressin also increases stress response and more aggressive behaviors. And it also can increase pain perception in stressful situations. So as we go through, I want us to think about finding hope within this messaging. So what are some of the things that we can do while we're working to heal with attachment styles and balancing out these neurotransmitters? So a lot of this comes back to brain retraining and balancing our nervous system and our limbic system. So first, we're learning about the neuroscience, how our brain, how our nervous system work, how all of these stress hormones come together, how we can work on harnessing the power of our limbic system to heal. This includes learning about neuroplasticity and how the brain can change and truly believing in that. And we have so many videos on this channel and online to really dive deeper into this. Another huge thing that is so important with healing attachment styles is polyvagal theory. Polyvagal theory dives a little bit deeper where we're not just either fight or flight or rest and digest mode. In the middle, we have social activation. We are at our healthiest nervous system-wise when we are in relationship with others. And it doesn't mean just a romantic relationship. This includes friendships, social engagements, pets, things that get us feeling safe in relation to other people. We could do an entire deep dive on polyvagal theory. We have other videos about that on this channel as well. But that is a really important theory when we're talking about healing attachment styles. We also want to look at somatic practices. So anything that is body-based, where we are releasing stored trauma and really coming back in touch with our own body, recognizing our own needs, giving ourselves the things that we need, where a lot of that trauma might be caused by inconsistent caregiving as a child, we're really coming back in tune with our bodies. Things like mindfulness and meditation are so important as well. We want to reduce that stress and enhance self-regulation, and really putting the focus on self-compassion. So a lot of mindfulness out there is directed towards just having a compassionate and having empathy towards yourself as you're healing. When we're looking at the kind of meditations that are helpful here, grounding exercises, connecting with the present moment, feeling anchored in the body, maybe visualizing roots growing from your feet into the earth and getting nourishment from the earth around you, body scans to bring awareness to the different parts of our body and what we need in that moment. Doing some polyvagal informed practices, engaging the vagus nerve and promoting kind of a relaxation response. So deep breathing, humming, gentle movement, tapping. Inner child work. So internal family systems might be a good thing here. Inner child work with a licensed therapist. This is going to include, there's a great book called No Bad Parts by Ariel Schwartz that talks a lot about this. We're dialoguing with different fragmented parts of ourselves that might have been, turned away or formed during childhood, and we're healing those past wounds from our initial attachment issues with our parents. Doing a loving kindness meditation or practicing mantras like may I be safe, may I be happy, may I be healthy. These are all going to contribute to healing our attachment with ourselves. And as we go through, I want us to really focus again on just the idea that a lot of this can be healed, and it's within our power to heal things, even if it comes from early childhood issues. I don't want us to have any sort of feeling that this is out of our control. It's more about the more we learn about our attachment styles, the more we can use that knowledge to heal as we go on through our lives. So we're going to close here with a brain retraining script for healing attachment issues and really focusing on polyvagal theory. So this script is designed to help us guide through a soothing visualization. We're going to shift our nervous system into a safe and connected state. And we're going to be using mantras to reinforce safety, love, and trust. So let's get started. Find a comfortable, quiet place to relax and begin by breathing deeply. Start by closing your eyes and taking a deep breath in through your nose, holding for a moment, and exhaling through your mouth. Focus on the air moving in and out, releasing tension with each breath. Take a few moments to feel the weight of your body against the surface beneath you. Visualize roots growing from your feet, connecting you to the earth, and imagine these roots are grounding you and nourishing you and helping you feel stable and supported. As you continue breathing, bring your attention to your heart center. Place one hand on your heart and feel its warmth, signaling your body that it is safe. Repeat to yourself, I am safe, grounded, and supported. My body is at peace. Now we're going to shift our attention to the vagus nerve, to shift our nervous system into a parasympathetic, calm state. I want you to begin just very simply by humming on every exhale. So a deep breath in, and then a hum. We're going to do that as many times as it feels comfortable. And allow the vibration to resonate throughout your chest and throat, releasing tension. Imagine a warm light moving down from your head, through your neck, into your chest and belly. And this light travels along your vagus nerve, soothing your entire body. And as it flows, it brings relaxation and a sense of safety. And repeating to ourselves, my nervous system is calm. I am safe to connect. Do that as many times as you feel comfortable, maybe swaying back and forth. We can take turns alternating, squeezing opposite arms, or just kind of tapping gently on our chest or collarbone, bilateral stimulation to help us feel grounded. We can even continue to do that if it feels good. And now I want you to imagine yourself in a safe, serene place. This could be a place from your memories where you felt deeply relaxed, or a completely new place in your mind that you create all on your own. It could be a peaceful beach, a forest, clearing, or a cozy room with soft light. Feel that comfort of the air as it surrounds you, the gentle breeze, the noises, the sensations, the smells, whatever brings you peace in this beautiful place. Engage all of your senses as you immerse yourself in this sanctuary. As you rest in this safe place, visualize a trusted figure joining you. This might be a loved one, a mentor, a nurturing presence from your past, or someone you imagine, even a pet. They are here to offer you love and support and safety, and feel that presence beside you and radiating into your heart space. Notice how your heart rate slows and your body relaxes in their presence. You're opening yourself up to the idea that relationship and connection is meant to be safe and bring forth feelings of love and peace. You feel seen and loved and understood. And repeat to yourself, I am safe to receive love. I am worthy of connection. Now take a moment to visualize yourself engaging in healthy, connected relationships, whatever they might be. See yourself in different social situations, having a nice conversation with a friend, taking an art class or a yoga class, going on a hike with a group, Sharing a meaningful hug, or sitting in quiet comfort with someone that you care about, or snuggling a pet. Notice the joy and peace that comes with these interactions. And now imagine the warmth from these relationships is flowing through you. It reaches your heart, softening any walls of protection that you've built. You don't need defenses anymore here. You are safe. Focus on your breath as you repeat the mantra and allow the imagery of connection to permeate your nervous system. I trust my relationships. I am open to connection and love. Now imagine again your vagus nerve, and you kind of visualize it being healthy and sustaining. And I want you to visualize a ray or a golden thread coming out of yourself to connecting you to others. Visualizing this pathway of light that extends from your heart out to those who you care about and creating a network of connection all around you. And these connections are filled with safety and trust and mutual support. And every breath you take strengthens this network and calms your nervous system further. And as you visualize these connections, feel that shift in your body as it moves into a state of ventral vagal activation, the state of safety and social engagement described in polyvagal theory. This state allows you to feel safe, compassionate, and engaged with others. And repeat to yourself, I am safe to give and receive love. My nervous system is open to healing. And as you repeat that mantra as many times as it feels good, visualize that warmth from your network of connections filling your entire body, healing old attachment wounds and replacing them with love, trust, and connection. When you're ready, gently bring your awareness back to the present moment, but keep the feelings of safety, connection, and warm, glowing love with you. Take a deep breath in, holding for a moment, and slowly release. Feel gratitude for your body, your nervous system, your ability to heal, and know that each time you practice, you're strengthening this ability to connect, trust, and to engage with love. And repeating to yourself, I am grateful for my healing journey. I am worthy of love and connection. When you're ready, slowly open your eyes, bringing with you the sense of calm, love, and openness, and carrying that healing energy with you into your day. I really hope that this video and this practice helps you heal and shift your nervous system from a state of defense or anxiety to one of openness and connection. And I hope that by engaging in regular brain retraining sessions like this, you'll begin to heal your limbic system and your nervous system and build healthier attachment patterns and become stronger and have more loving relationships. Every time you practice, you're sending messages of safety, love, and trust into your brain and body. I am so honored to be on this journey with you. I wish you so much healing and love, and stay tuned for any other videos that might help on this journey. Comment below if you have any questions. Thank you for always showing up for yourselves.